Hey everybody, this is Brenda Devine from Purpose 8 Institute, and you're listening to my podcast, Living a Life of Purpose, where we discuss the importance of purpose in our everyday lives. Discovering and living out your purpose keeps you focused on God's purpose. That is sharing the good news of salvation with others. This podcast is for people like me, still searching for the answers to who am I and why am I here? You and I were designed and created by God for purpose, and we have much to do. You can listen and subscribe to my podcast, Living a Life of Purpose with Brenda Devine on Anchor and all other podcast platforms. Hi, this is Brenda Devine from Purpose 8 Institute. Hey, thank you so much for joining me for another episode of my podcast, Living a Life of Purpose. So I know my voice is raspy. I'm getting over a cold, but I am so full this morning that I'm like, we're just going to do this with a raspy voice anyway. So today's topic is a made-up mind. So I'm going to say that there is power when you make up your mind about something and someone, even making up your mind about yourself. We grow up with a lot of different storylines playing in our heads. And even now in this time of life, there are so many things to look at, so many voices to hear, so many new ideas to consider. But we also have this baggage and luggage from the past that we bring to the present. And sometimes it's hard to separate. It's hard to let go. It's hard to process because we keep it with us. But a made-up mind is powerful. Making up your mind that you're not going to be bothered with stupid stuff anymore is powerful. A made-up mind of leaving a job that doesn't appreciate you. A made-up mind of understanding who is wicked and who is not. A made-up mind of knowing who your friends are and who is not. A made-up mind of recognizing that some people will never support you. Sometimes you gotta leave stuff in the past. Sometimes you gotta put a pin in it and go, this is it. I understand it. I don't want to be bothered anymore. I'm just going to put a pin in it. Doesn't mean I don't love you. Doesn't mean I don't care for you. Doesn't mean that I hate you. Doesn't mean any of those things. But it means I don't want to be bothered with the mess anymore. It is a no. Leaving a job, leaving a relationship, leaving friends, leaving family members, still being around family members, but putting up some boundaries, putting up with, hey, I'm not going to deal with that anymore. Accepting people for who they are. You can't change some people. You can talk till you fall out. You've been talking the last 10, 20, 30 years. Nothing has changed. Time to move on. Time to leave that problem right there. Emotional baggage. Every time something comes up that triggers you, you go way back to when you were 5, when you were 12, when you were 20, and you relive it all over. It's time to put a pin in it. You don't need to go back. You don't need to try to analyze it. You don't need to try to make sense of it. You just need to put a pin on it. It's been 60 years. It's the same story. I've grown tired of it. It's time to move on. You've got to put a pin in it. You've got to have a made up mind that I'm good. I'm not interested anymore. I'm not interested in the mess. I'm not interested in the drama. I'm not interested in the wickedness. I'm not interested in any of it. I've got way too many things to do for God to be bothered with the mess. You've got to have a made up mind. Now, you thought about it, you analyzed it, you talked to some people, you made sure you understand. You didn't jump to no conclusions. It is what it is. There's nothing that you can do about it. It's nothing they want to do about it. They think they're right. But you know that you don't have the energy anymore. You don't have the desire anymore. You've got a limited amount of time on this earth. You've already wasted several years on some mess. It's time to move on. A made up mind is powerful. A made up mind gives you space and opportunity to think creatively, to elevate your faith, to elevate your thinking, to be that steward, to go beyond being a servant and being a steward, managing what God has given you to do. He has given you everything that you need. You have talents, you have skills, you have gifts, and you're not using them. Not to your full capacity because you're lingering in some mess. I can't do it anymore. I put a pin in it. I'm good. Love you. I wish the best for you. I'm praying for you. I'm blessing you. And I love you, but it's time to move on. I'm not mean. I'm not mad. I'm just full. I'm full of all the mess, and I'm ready to replace it with something else. I'm ready to use what God has given me. I'm ready to discover what my full capacity is. I don't really know what I can do messing around with your mess. So it's time to have a made up mind. There is power in a made up mind. So I'm going to challenge you to make up your mind, to make those hard decisions. Doesn't mean you don't love anybody. Doesn't mean that you don't want to talk to anybody. You've just made up your mind. You're not interested in it anymore. You're good. You have a humble confidence. There is no pride in it all at all, but you just reached the end of the line and it's time to go in another direction. There is power in a made up mind. This is Brenda Devine from Purpose 8 Institute. Hey, I'll talk to you a little bit. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me on my podcast, Living a Life of Purpose, on Anchor and all other major podcast platforms. To learn more about Purpose 8 Institute and our ministry of sharing the importance of purpose, please visit our website, www.purpose8institute.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and even TikTok. If you would like to learn more about purpose beyond this podcast, Living a Life of Purpose, you can also purchase one of my books that are available on my website, purpose8institute.com, and also on Amazon.